This is Bob. He's eating 1,200 calories a day, tracking every gram, and hasn't lost a single pound in 6 weeks. Here's the hormone quietly locking his fat cells shut. Bob's doing everything right. He's logging every gram in an app, hitting his number every single day for 6 weeks straight, and the scale hasn't moved once. He started wondering if the app is lying to him, if his scale is broken, or if his metabolism got permanently wrecked by some diet he did in his 20s. This is exactly the moment most people quit, right before the part that would have actually explained what's going on. Neither the app nor the scale is broken, and Bob isn't fooling himself about the math either. Calories still matter, and 1,200 is genuinely a deficit for someone his size. But calories are only half of what determines whether your body burns fat or locks it away, and the other half is a hormone almost nobody accounts for, one that has nothing to do with willpower and everything to do with timing. That hormone is insulin. Every time you eat, especially carbohydrates, your pancreas releases insulin to move sugar out of your blood and into your cells. That's normal and necessary. Without it, sugar would just stay in your bloodstream, which is its own serious problem. But insulin has a second job most people never hear about. While it's elevated, it actively suppresses your fat cells from releasing stored fat, and it simultaneously tells your liver to stop dumping its own stored sugar into your blood. It's not that insulin makes you gain fat by itself. It's that as long as insulin stays elevated, your body is biologically locked out of using fat for fuel, no matter how few calories you're eating that day. Here's what actually matters though, and it's not any single spike. It's the total time your insulin spends elevated across the whole day, sometimes called the insulin area under the curve. Here's what Bob's actual day looks like. A bowl of cereal at 7 a.m., a granola bar at 10, a sandwich and chips at noon, another snack at 3, dinner at 7, and a small dessert at 9. 6 eating events, 6 insulin spikes, several of them overlapping before the last one even fully comes down. On paper, his day adds up to 1,100 calories. In practice, his body might be spending 14 or 15 of his 16 waking hours with insulin elevated enough to keep the door to his fat cells locked. Compare that to Priya, who eats roughly the same 1,100 calories but in 3 larger meals spaced 5 hours apart. Same total intake, same rough macros, but her insulin has real windows to fully return to baseline between meals, so her total locked-out time across the day might only be 7 or 8 hours instead of Bob's 14 or 15. Same math on the calorie counter. Very different biology underneath it, so here's what actually moves the needle. On top of the calorie deficit Bob is already doing right, and none of it requires changing what he eats. First, it's not about avoiding carbs entirely. It's about insulin duration, not just insulin presence. A spike that comes down quickly is very different from insulin staying elevated for hours. Bob's granola bar at 10 a.m. isn't the problem by itself. The problem is that by the time that spike would normally settle back down after about 90 minutes to 2 hours, lunch is already arriving and starting a new one on top of it. 6 small spikes stacked close together, each one re-triggering before the last one clears, can add up to more total locked time across the day than 3 bigger, well-spaced ones, even at identical calories. Second, the order and pairing of food changes the spike, not just the size of the meal. Protein, fiber, and fat all slow gastric emptying and blunt how sharply your blood sugar and therefore your insulin rises from the same meal. If Bob's cereal breakfast became 2 eggs and a piece of fruit instead, the total calories could stay nearly identical, but the insulin curve underneath it would look completely different. Lower peak, faster return to baseline, less total locked time from that one meal alone. We've got a full video on food order specifically, because the effect size is bigger than most people expect. Third, muscle is your biggest lever, and it's the one Bob hasn't touched at all. Resistance-trained muscle pulls glucose out of your blood through a mechanism that needs less insulin to do the same job. Trained muscle tissue simply becomes more sensitive to the insulin it does release, and some of that glucose uptake happens through contraction itself, almost independent of insulin. Picture 2 people eating the exact same sandwich and chips. One of them lifts twice a week, one doesn't. The lifter's insulin response to that identical meal is measurably smaller and clears faster, purely because their muscle is better at clearing glucose on its own. This is one of the most underrated reasons resistance training helps fat loss beyond just burning calories during the workout itself. Bob's missing lever isn't in his kitchen, it's in the gym. Fourth, movement after eating gives your muscles a non-insulin pathway to clear blood sugar, shortening how long insulin needs to stay elevated after a meal. A 10-minute walk after Bob's lunch wouldn't change what he ate or how many calories he consumed. It would just close his insulin window faster, the same way the lifter's trained muscle does automatically at rest. Put those 4 things together: spacing meals out, pairing carbs with protein and fiber, building a bit of muscle, walking after the biggest meals, and Bob hasn't changed his calorie total at all. He's just shrunk the number of hours his body spends locked out of using its own fat. Same 1,200 calories, dramatically less time in storage mode. Now here's the part that surprises people, including a lot of people who think they already understand this, and it would have helped Bob more than any of the 4 things we just covered. The single biggest lever isn't anything you eat, and it isn't meal timing either. It's something you build once, and it works for you passively, every single meal, for the rest of your life, without you thinking about it at all. It's building resistance-trained muscle. Trained muscle acts like a sponge for blood sugar. It can soak up glucose with dramatically less insulin than untrained muscle needs to do the same job. Partly because exercised muscle temporarily pulls in glucose through pathways that don't even require much insulin signaling in the first place. That means every meal you eat for the rest of your life gets metabolized with a smaller, shorter insulin response, automatically, without you thinking about it once. And unlike a diet change, it doesn't require Bob to make a single different decision at the dinner table. This is why 2 people can eat an identical meal and have completely different insulin responses. One of them just has more metabolically active muscle doing the work for free. It's not a trick or a hack. It's the compounding return on training that Bob hasn't started yet. So to bring it back, calories still count. Don't let anyone tell Bob otherwise, and his tracking wasn't the problem. But how long insulin stays elevated across the day determines whether those calories get burned or locked away. And the biggest lever on that isn't another tweak to what's on his plate. It's building muscle, spacing his meals out a bit, and taking a short walk after his biggest one. Bob doesn't need a new diet, and he doesn't need to eat any less than he already does. He needs the same 1,200 calories, arranged a little differently across the day, with 2 short training sessions added on top. The same lever we keep coming back to in this series, because it keeps showing up as the answer. If you want the exact food order trick that blunts insulin spikes without changing what you eat, that's the next video. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and let us know in the comments if you want the full 2-day training split next, since that's the piece Bob's actually missing. Go back to Bob. If Bob adds 2 30-minute resistance sessions a week and does nothing else differently, same 6 meals, same 1,200 calories, same granola bar at 10 a.m., his insulin response to that exact same day of eating starts shrinking within a few weeks, purely because his muscle is doing more of the work his pancreas used to have to handle alone. By around week 6 or 8, the same meals that used to keep him locked for 14 or 15 hours a day might only lock him for 10 or 11, without him changing a single thing about what's on his plate. Priya sees the same shift, just from a different starting point. Her meal spacing already had her locked out time down around 7 or 8 hours a day, better than Bob's. But she'd never touched resistance training either. Once she adds those same 2 30-minute sessions a week, her insulin response shrinks on top of the timing advantage she already had, and within a similar few weeks, her lock time drops closer to 5 or 6 hours a day. Same 2 workouts, same starting number on the scale, but 2 completely different baselines, both improving for the same underlying reason. And that convergence is the real point. It doesn't matter whether your bigger problem is too many meals stacked close together or too little muscle doing the clearing, the same fix moves the needle either way. For Bob, that gap between 6 weeks stuck and the scale finally moving is exactly what those 2 sessions buy him. For Priya, it's the difference between an already good routine and a genuinely optimized one. Same lever, 2 very different payoffs.